Folks, my name is Nits, Chagti, and welcome back to the SPC, the Scrabble Players Championship, brought to you by NASPA. I'm joined by Matthew O'Connor, an expert and a fantastic commentator. I'm so glad you're here, Matt. How are you feeling?
I am feeling really good. Want to give Elise Bickford one last thank you. I got a job interview kind of unexpectedly. Yesterday, I got offered a job interview, so I had to skip the first two games, but I am ready to go. I will be here all five remaining games today.
Fantastic. It's a treat for us. We have in front of us Alec Sjoholm and Josh Castellano going head to head. Let's cut to them. I believe the players might be ready. And we have the standings here first to show you that Alec Sjoholm is really dominating with a record of 17-6. Look at that spread. Oh my gosh. And Josh Castellano has been crawling his way back up those ratings. He is in 7th place now with 14-9. He really needs to win this one.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for Josh. I think any path he has will start with winning this game. I think we're ready to go. We've already a bit behind with the delay with the camera issues, so I think we need to get into this.
And look at these players. They have been on a winning streak, and I'm really excited to see this game go down. I'm sure it's going to be a banger. Both Josh and Alec with incredible word knowledge. They really put in the time to study these words. I think we're going to see a real fun game. Are you ready, guys?
I'm ready to go. I'm hoping we see some sort of crazy word to make the stream viewing experience worth it. Barring that, some crazy sequence that outruns the conventional wisdom.
Well, then I'm glad that I have you here because I'm going to need help with all of those unconventional sequences. Josh Castellano going first, and he's drawing his tiles. I believe he's going to draw them one at a time. Are you one of the players who draws 7 tiles at once, Matt?
Usually I get to 6, and then 7 might be 8, and I freak out, and I do a nice 6 and 1.
Oh, okay. Great to see that X on his rack for Josh. He can put down Vax basically immediately, do you think?
What about V Mana? Kind of gutsy, but it does set up the X nicely. That said, I think Vax is hard to argue with. Always fun to start with a V on the first play. Hard to deal with.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess one of the adages that we're told again and again is when you're playing your first move, you might want to start short so that you're not giving too many floaters back to your opponent. Now, with Vimana, M is such a nice tile. Would you say that Vax is better?
I think Vax is better. I just think Vimana would have been a lot of fun to see, but it is really hard to argue with Vax. We see Alec Sjoholm with a couple too many vowels. Something like "hout" is super uninspiring, but it at least gets rid of OU nits. What do you see?
Oh man, I kind of like playing auto underneath Vax, making XUAA. I like auto because it's 17 points and it keeps the HOE. And Alex has put it off to the side. I think he's definitely considering it.
That is another good choice. Auto keeps the H. We love the H. It fits in so many two-letter words. A lot of bingos. One of those tiles that will increase the score of everything in the future.
Absolutely. And now he's got Owie off to the side, AUE. That's an exclamation, I think, of pain, I believe. He's going to come down with Owie. I was not expecting this. What are your thoughts on this play?
Yeah, this is an interesting choice. It seems like Alec is trying to set up his H. I just worry that from Josh's perspective, there's really no way to do anything other than go there. We're going to probably see him put his F there pretty quickly.
Right. That's a good point. I mean, as you mentioned, like there's not much that goes underneath the AA. There's just the HLS, and then under the E is really Josh's best bet to score some points. Now he's gotten lucky. He's picked up that F. He can come down with Fib or Fab or Finca. I think Fib would be great for 29 points, and it keeps his CAMN.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. He has a couple of different choices. In this situation, I'm probably thinking the most about double doubles. Double doubles aren't super likely, but they are going to be a lot better than basically all other possibilities. This case, though, anything forming EF was going to be the highest scoring play. anyways, and so anything with that seems pretty good. The only other thing I would consider is something like Moffic scoring 34, but it does take a little bit of a sneaky S hook that you probably have to be sure of.
Ah, and I bet you that Josh, for a fact, knows that this takes an S. And I say this because Josh Castellano is one of those very few Scrabble players who unintuitively actually learns what these words mean. Now, you think that competitive Scrabble players, they'd know what the words mean when they come down, but really, we don't. It's so much
Yeah, it's often just easier to sort of memorize sequences of letters. One of those things where if you're not named Nigel, your brain has a limited amount of space. And boy, I don't want to learn definitions when I can just learn words. But things like Moffic are really important to get the definition down because it's one of those words that has a bit of a sneaky S hook.
absolutely. Now, I wonder if Alec thinks that Josh is holding on to an S playing Mayfic like that because Alec for sure knows that this takes an S, right? Now he's got Notum off to the side. I think he's looking at that, making emu, and AM. That would score him 27 points. I think that's a really great play. It keeps HO, but I wonder if there's any reason for him to consider would this take an S?
Okay, good. The board appears to be coming back quickly this time. I would assume Alec knows the S hook. That said, we are all humans. We all have our lapses. Alec is playing no tum. That's going to be hard to argue with. Blocking the double double is a great idea when you are not going to be able to hit it yourself. I like this play.
I mean, I agree. He could have gotten lost, I think, a little bit trying to block the S setup that he maybe thought was coming, but he's gone ahead. He's taken the 27 points. I think that's a really good idea. There's really not much that he could have done to block that spot and still score some points, but while also getting rid of the tiles that he didn't want. On to Josh now. Matt, do you see any standout plays for him? He's got the weird W. He's got the B. He's got too many N's.
Yeah, this is one of those positions where I really want to play the word Bawn, Bawn. There isn't really a place to do it though, so gonna have to think of the slightly less inspiring options. Something like Baw, the new word underneath Notum, is a great choice. Uninspiring, but when all of your options are uninspiring, uninspiring does not mean don't do this. We see Alec playing a little bit of rack cleanup and getting rewarded. He has over thin spelled out on his rack, likely to be able to play it.
Do you think Josh might come down with the word winna, Winna, keeping BIE? Because that, it would obstruct over thin, and that floating A doesn't give anything back to Alec. Now, Josh can't know that Alec has a bingo, right? But Winna scores 24 points, and it's pretty good. It does not keep the duplicate ends that BAW would. Would you think that Winna has any possibility of coming down on this board?
Yeah, I think Winna is another solid choice. It does not take an S. That doesn't matter too much with Moffic sitting there, but if Moffic gets used, it might be nice for Josh to be sitting on a bit of a tighter board after that. Winna also keeps the B, which is kind of nice because what we're going to see on a little bit tighter of a board is that the B ends up doing pretty well as a 3 point tile. It is worth more than one, and one pointers get their value from forming bingos, which is going to be pretty hard here if something obstructs Notum. And there's also not really much in the way of floaters. So I don't mind weighting the B a little bit more heavily as an ideal tile to keep.
That's a really good analysis of the situation. And Chad has pointed out that over thin takes a K, and Josh Castellano now almost in danger of overthinking. He's gone ahead, he's put down Gnaw instead of Ba. Also, an interesting choice. What do you think about that, keeping BEIN? I know you said that the B becomes more important, but perhaps Winna would have been better here?
Yeah, no, I think the idea is that there's already going to be certain things to think about going underneath. He has BEIN spelled out. That is a word. and it already plays underneath Gnaw for a decent score. He's probably thinking that there's ways to make it even better than that. This time we're going to see Alec play over thin very quickly. Definitely a lucky break for him that Josh chose not to play winner.
Absolutely. And Alec now drawing 7 tiles, and Josh still no S. He is going to have to figure out what to do here. He's got bingo EE. What do you do here?
There is a very nice 6-letter word that might act as a little bit of a bailout. Wow, Alec drawing the K
Oh my
immediate.
gosh.
Alec,
Wow.
to be sure that Punkily is no good, although I don't think it plays here anyways. Nits, what are you thinking about something like Puny for Alec waiting on the K? Seems hard for anything to go there.
I say hang on to that K. You don't really need to work it right now. But Josh, though, I mean, I don't think there's anything that he's going to be doing to obstruct that K, that overthink. So Josh, he's going to have to look on different parts of the board. I think he should leave the O of the overthin alone. I think, as you had mentioned, he has a 6-tile overlap. He has ENGOBE and GOBE for 40 points, as you had alluded to. And I think that's exactly where he needs to keep his eye line. That's exactly where he needs to play and open up more space on this board as he starts to fall behind. But right now, only down by 40, he's going to even this game out very quickly as he sees NGOBE.
Yeah, I think this is one of those cases where Josh might just have to iterate through all of the different subwords on his rack. Maybe a little bit counterintuitive that the best play puts the B underneath Na and uses the double, but yeah, he's going to find Obe. He might be a little bit weighted towards bingoing, although I do think in Gobe is too many points to disagree with. Alec with a little bit of a divergent path. He can choose to play Puny to the left of Overthin, or he can cash it out right away with Pukey and Overthink.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But what if he doesn't use the K for overthink? What if he does Plunky and makes Noi? That's 60 points. Or, play Punily and make Noi for 52, hold on to that K.
Yeah, there's a lot of great choices. I think possibly counterintuitively, I don't think overthinker is a word. I don't know if that will come up with Alec depending on what he draws. Plunky feels a little bit dangerous at this score. I wonder if Pukey is just a safer option. It does set up S plays, but those plays aren't the same score as some of the possibilities with Puke after Plunky.
That's definitely interesting. Do you think that maybe he could also? Oh, he's gonna go ahead with Plunky. Good for
Yeah,
him. I mean, yeah, it's so many points.
I think an underrated aspect of Plunky is that there's only one K in the game, so Alec doesn't have to do the whole what if he hits overthink because it is
Oh, and he's getting a
available.
challenge. +5 for Alec that we're gonna see work out in front of us. Thank you to Art Moore, of course, for wordjudge.me. Josh is challenging Plunky, and Alec gets his 5 points.
Sim
Great
is
word knowledge.
showing a super close call between a couple of different choices. Alec can play Linky setting up the P. He can also play Punily and save the K for later. And though these plays are very different in their nature, it is appearing to be a pretty close call where you can kind of go any way you want and it won't be too wrong. Alec doing Plunky with the +5. This has to be an excellent choice.
That was a really lovely find on his end. 60 points is nothing to sneeze at. And Josh now, he's got a few too many vowels. I mean, he could just get rid of all of them, right? Like he could just play EINE under Plunky and save just his one E, the D, and the G. It means he gets rid of his N, and you kind of want that if you're going to have the G on your rack, but it's 34 points. So, what are the chances he does that? Or is this the case where he needs the volatility, where he needs to keep at least a few of those floaters open and maybe play somewhere else on this board? Something like
Yeah,
Overthink.
as much as I love volatility when I'm behind, it has to be the right kind. I do think a little bit careless to leave the area under the triple. It's a little bit like Alec is just always going there. He's getting 30 plus every time. It feels like if you take over thinned first, you're just letting him take a lot of easy opportunities for points. We can see that this time it would be UD. That's not a word. I
Oh
hope he
no.
doesn't get
Oh,
this. Okay, good.
oh
We're
wow, he
gonna
sees it.
see if Josh plays Ein. He blocks Kopi, a new word. 33 points keeping AIST is nothing to sneeze at, and using it up right away just stops a lot of stuff like that. So, as much as I like volatility, the volatility I am interested in is the fact that noise is still open. That's the kind of thing that would be harder to deal with if Alec doesn't have an S, harder to obstruct, harder to use. That's the kind of thing that might be a lifeline for later. That's the kind of thing I want to leave open.
Right, right. And Josh here, he's really got a tough decision. He really doesn't want to part with that N because that G is going to be so rough. Now, here's the thing though Josh Castellano, not only does he memorize definitions, he also memorizes leave values. So he's already got an idea in his head what the static valuation is for holding on to DEG. He's going to put this down for 34 points. He's going to score well. I think this is the right decision. He definitely should go ahead and play this, get that, as you had mentioned, the scoring opportunity away from Alec and keep going through this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to shout out Josh for writing a program called Magpie. Magpie has already redefined what we think about leave values. One of the big things we've learned from Magpie, a lot of leaves containing one pointers aren't as good as we thought. They have to hit a lot of bingos or else you're just limiting your scoring opportunities. So a lot of leaves like NRT are actually not very good because they are one pointers and they turn into seven consonants too often to have a lot of value. Alec is spelling out stoic. I'm worried that this is going with noise, which might hint that he doesn't know Mofix because Scotia and Mofix is a great choice, and I think it's hard to.
Any part of him that is not going to use that S, I wonder if he might hang on to it. I wonder if there's any merit to playing fewer points, but it's so nice to just get a lead and to keep, hammering that home. I think Scotia is such a great play. Alec definitely, he knows the six-letter words, right? Like we saw Plunky come down. Once he sees Scotia, I think there's a strong chance that would hit the board. Just a matter of iterating through the tiles and the plays and seeing what he can do on this board.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about Scotia that I think makes it really hard to argue with is it is just so defensive. It kills Mofix, which is the highest scoring bingo lane, and it kills arguably the easiest to use bingo lane, which is the one underneath O. O takes a D, an R, and an S, and if Alec plays Scotia down there, it will obstruct O in a way where it can't be used.
Absolutely, absolutely. On to Alec now to think through this turn. He's used up 2 minutes, but he's a careful player. I think Alec's word knowledge is just really incredible. These players are up here in first and seventh place for a reason. They are really, really knowledgeable about their words, and he really just has to take his time and think through and decide what could he actually play. I think there's a strong chance that Alec will see a good six-letter word here.
For sure. If you saw Alec make a little bit of a mistake yesterday on stream, that was a very uncharacteristic mistake. It shocked all of us. One of those glitches in the Matrix that we all do sometimes, and we hope it doesn't happen on stream. Alec playing Odic. I don't hate this idea. I do worry that it is leaving the O hooks open in a way that'll be hard to ever deal with.
Right, right. I mean, sometimes you just want that bingo, right? Like you think I am so close to this and you really want it, and the board is just open enough. There's the E of over thin, the O, the V that you could play through. I mean, he's keeping an eye so he could end in IC words. And on to Josh now. He has pulled out the Q and even more E's from that bag. A blank to go with it, though. And in this situation, are you someone who would play through this rack, Matt, or would you go ahead and exchange down to DE blank or
Blank, but one of the advantages to Jeed is that with 5 unseen R's, you are one tile away from drawing the 68-point queer. There's also a U that could give you the same word, and 68, if Alec doesn't score too much, is a good way to get back into the game.
That's a fantastic find, and a really good point. Yes, that's a really great lane for him to have open for himself. The G maybe not super easy to bingo through, but that E, that'd be very helpful for his Q. And as you have taught me and many other players, that sometimes you just burn the blank, even if it's not a bingo. You don't have to hold on to that blank as long as it's giving you the points that you need. And a blank, is only so good as the points that you get.
Yeah, definitely. Alec is in an interesting spot. I think he has an opportunity to maybe do something very defensive. He has already cut off Mafix. He can consider playing something underneath Noi, maybe something like SPAIT. I do worry that that might not be quite enough points. If Alec is sure of over thin taking an S, he can also go the route of Posit. Posit
Ooh.
scores 38 points and keeps him ahead of a lot of potential Josh bingos.
That's a really cool play. Making amp and over thins, that's really nice. Do you think there's any merit to playing something like Pieta as he's about to do? I think that's pretty cool. It's 26 points and it's getting rid of that one spot. He can't have known that Josh was holding on to a Q, but it is a good scoring spot that he just gets rid of now.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always a chance that Jeed was a Q setup, and it was this time, and we're going to see Josh with significantly worse options because of it. Josh is likely thinking of QI. He's probably a little bit worried that QI kills a lot of the board opening that he attempted. I think it's hard to say no to QI with the fact that there's still the hooks on the bottom for his nice leave of DDER blank.
Right, right. What are your thoughts on something like uh he's about to do Q? Oh, he's doing Cade. Oh, that's very interesting. 19 points keeping DER. Uh definitely interesting. That is, I would say, his best leave. He could have also exchanged DQ, but he's getting 19 points for Cade. Gives back an easy 33 points for Alec if he wants them, though.
Yeah, I think I would have taken the points here. I think it's a little bit like you're already behind. You need to go for it. Also, don't think that DDER blank is that bad, given that the D hook to O is going to be a likely spot for your bingo.
That's fair. That's definitely a fair point. Um, Shorty has come down for an astounding 90 points. Alec very commandingly in the lead now. Josh needs to find, and he will find his bingos here. He's got a whole bunch of them making SNAW, snaw, which is a word. And it will still leave the lane under Pieta. It will leave row 3 open for him to come back in the later game.
Yeah, I think Josh is definitely wanting to do that. He's probably doing a brief search for bingos ending in O. Those would score a lot more, and it is a rack that definitely has a lot of 7-letter words. Unfortunately, this time, none of them are going to fit. Josh's best chance to come back now will likely involve a bingo forming snaw that is as open as possible. Maybe he wants to start with something like the D to take as many hooks as possible. Something like Deodars seems to set up several lanes for sevens that might keep his hopes alive if he can draw another blank.
Oh, that's really interesting. What about something like reloads and hope to draw? Oh, wait, there are no P's out, so just hope to draw the other blank, I guess. Preloads, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate trying to play a word that takes a hook for a double double. This is one of those binary things where either I will get it or he will. And if there's only one of them left, there's an excellent chance of you beating your opponent to it. I think in this case, I am not sure if I love that. It's probably one of those things where Alec is going to go there anyways, but there's definitely words in this rack that end in S and take a front hook. You already pointed out reloads. That might be the best opportunity. Maybe he can get a double double with a blank P if Alec defaults to something like QI on his next turn.
Oh, nice. That's a good point. That's a good point. Josh here taking his time. He's down to 10 minutes on his clock. He needs to I believe that he really needs to pick a bingo and move on with it. I know this is tough. This is a tough situation. He's so many things to pick through. Maybe he's looking for a 9 to PE, maybe he's looking for something that will give him a lot of points there. That would be really just a great situation for him. But he needs to budget that time for later, I think.
One thing I noticed is that there's an outside chance of a very nice overlap forming id, dodo, and Moffix through the C. A C
Oh.
D E O R S, another friendly leave. Doesn't quite work here with any of the options there, but that's one of those really nice scoring plays, and it does leave a snaw for later.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Man. What do you do in this position, Matt? Do you just go ahead with one of the first few bingos that you see, or are you going to take 3 minutes? What do you think you're doing in the situation?
Yeah, I don't mind looking for the perfect bingo here because it is likely Josh is going to need some sort of 1-2 punch with several bingos to pull this one out. I think strong argument in favor of reloads, even though the only hook is a blank. Josh is at the score line where something desperate like that is kind of all you're going to do.
Okay, it seems like he's thinking of fedoras. Um, and I wonder if he's imagining that because it's consonant vowel, it would give him more chances for overlaps.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Fedora is giving him an outside chance at a 5 or 6 way overlap. When you're this far behind, it's always something desperate like that that becomes your best option because you are going to need something desperate to come back.
Absolutely. And on to Alec. He has the J on his rack. He's a great place on this board for it to go down. But if you are Alec, are you putting down that I for 33, making QI, or are you just going and playing off that J, making JUN and ONE for 41?
Yeah, QI would be a really nice bailout for my opponent if I'm Alec. I do think that given that it is only 33, it is not quite the score where I am panicking over it. JO has the nice advantage of bingoing more than 0% of the time, and a bingo is going to be high enough scoring to put this game away. So my gut is telling me Joe is the right move order here.
And it is, I mean, it's so many more points. It makes sense to go ahead and just put the pressure on your opponent. Josh, he's almost about to struggle with this time. He has about half the time that Alec does. Not easy racks to work through, though. So, man, do you take advantage of those overlaps next to fedoras now? Do you just go ahead and play gleb right now, or do you leave that space alone and try to find somewhere else on this board for you to possibly get some points? I mean, maybe you could do something like Gleed, GLEED, to the D of fedoras. Get yourself even more space.
This is one of those spots where, for me, it's going to be all about making sure there is several bingo lanes on my next turn. Um, Something like Glebe feels a little bit too tight for me. Going to be really hard to bingo if Alec plays vertically to the right of fedoras. So I don't think I love that option. I think Gleed might be more along the lines of the type of play I would consider this time, unfortunately giving Alec
We'll get
a
back. Yeah.
winterier. But I do
Yeah.
like this idea better. And yeah, very good to be proactive here. And unfortunately, not going to work this time. But I think this is the right idea.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tough, I mean, tough luck for Josh, but also great job on Alec's part for finding Winter. Already he had set it up on his rack. He was just waiting for that E to come down, and it came down, and there he is. Now he is at 431, and Josh at 275. Josh is really going to have to pick something great out of this bag, but I think his chances have definitely dwindled. This is a tough position for him to be in.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough comeback from here. Don't know if it makes sense to preserve spread, although I believe that at this point, Josh's chances of making the finals for a repeat have dwindled to basically zero. Very close to seeing Alec draw Syzygy and Mofix. That would be a great way to put the icing on the cake this game.
Oh my gosh.
Fortunately, it was not actually possible because the other Y is on the board, but that would have been a lot of fun.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh. Um, Josh now, is he, so there's one I unseen to him. There are no ends, only the blank. So the G of Gleed, not as useful for the ING bingos. It's still a floater though. So is it the case that you play something like Fab to the side of Winter for 30, or do you do something on the bottom right quadrant of the board? Do you do something like a fault, AFALD, making AIFE and a fault for 25? Do you leave that spot of the board alone and hope that Alec has something else?
Yeah, this is just going to be a tough one. I don't know if there's any real chance of Josh bingoing. I would just be going for broke, looking at the bag and trying to draw a bingo, doubling the Z and using either the top of the board or the G. I don't even know if that's really possible from Josh's perspective, but that's really the only way to make anything happen here. Josh playing Fab, he's probably just throwing in the towel. Don't hate this. It was always going to be hard at this point.
I believe so, yes. And Alec now, he's got a great six-letter word. Using that blank, he's going to score 94 if he sees the word that puts the Z on the double-letter score, the Sozzly come down once Alec spots it.
Yeah, it might be a tough find. I don't know how often you review the two Z6's Nits, but it's pretty unlikely to come up in a real game. Would not shock me at all. We've also seen Alec seemingly unsure of Mofix, and this would be a bad time to lose a turn and have the game derail. Would not shock me if we just see something like Gazy instead, Gazy playing to the right of Winterier and probably consists of much more easy to know words.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you think there's any chance that Alec is going to stop that E of over thin? Do you think he sees that as a threat? Because Josh now, he has Lettiest on his rack. It's going to play through that E of over thin. Do you think Alec is going to sniff that out as a possible place for Josh to put down a bingo, that E may be more important than the G, perhaps?
No, I think the real threat is actually going to the right of Fedora's. We're going to see Josh also having a bingo there with dilates. Alec is looking to play Zloty. I think this is pretty reasonable as a way of preserving spread if you're not sure of Sazali. This time, however, Josh will actually have Lettiest anyways, but this is a good idea too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Alec will score well with that. He will get the points that he needs, and I don't think he's in any danger of losing this game right now. He's up by 130 points, and there are 10 tiles unseen to him. That means there's three in the bag.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also important for Alec to maybe preserve some energy. He's probably going to need maybe two more wins after this to lock up a spot in the final two, depending on how some of our other top contenders are doing. So, in this case, the idea of blocking the biggest bingo lane and scoring as much as you can is totally rational. I like this idea. Let's just take a break and go to the next round if you're Alec.
56 points for Zloty, and he knows that even if Josh comes back with a bingo, there's nothing that he can do to win this game. There's only 3 tiles. Alec playing Zloty would give him the last tiles in the bag, and even if Josh bingoes out, Alec is not stuck with heavy scoring tiles that would give Josh back something crazy. So Zloty's coming down for 59 instead. Alec has surmised that he needs to have fewer tiles.
Yeah, I don't mind this idea. Also, this time Alec will save, I think, 5 spread points because he's gotten an extra tile on the board, and Josh will be bingoing out. So the S is going to score him 3 more points, and it's going to not be on his rack when Josh bingos out. Alec has been held. We know it's a word. This one is a little tricky because it is the S hook to a word ending in consonant Y. There are not a lot of those. Might get Alec an additional 5 spread points through the challenge.
Right, right. I mean, I guess at this point, sometimes I know that players are uncomfortable with challenging, especially when they're on stream, because they don't want to look silly for challenging a very common word. But I say it is 5 points for the, for the peace of your mind. If it's 59 points and you are not sure, it's probably worth the challenge. But I think that Josh has accepted the play. He's going to go down with Ledius pretty much immediately. Good on him for finding that spot. That E was a little tricky, and he's going to get some points off of Alec's rack. This is the game.
Yeah, this will be the game. Josh will preserve some of his spread. I think he's going to be at 378, so we will get a little bit closer on the scoreline. But tough one. It seemed like the critical turns were things like Gnaw, Winna maybe a tiny bit better, and as we know, Winna would have changed the entire course of the game. Alec would have not had Overthin, and he may have been forced to play something like Overt on under Notum, so that might have changed the entire course of the game. But it is tough to know.
Absolutely. I would love to see what the players are saying, though, and what they're discussing right now. Let's cut to the overhead mic.
Let's do it.
Dark-colored igneous rock.
Yeah, it's a colon.
Is overthin a verb?
Doubt it.
I may have been able to do overthinned.
Make too thin. It is a verb. It's a verb in NWL even.
Yeah, maybe I should have, extended that. It might be better. What did I have? I just wasn't sure. Maybe when I... No. When I played Ian, I could have played overthinned.
Oh, yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah, I knew
it
you
might
had
be.
a D.
It might
Revealed it.
Huh.
This turn was interesting. I kept AIST, and not knowing Moffics,
AIST.
I was considering just blocking down here with Stoic, but I figured I think it's the S is worth a lot on this board with this hook. This hook exists. This hook exists. I didn't even know about it.
Oh, this... I wasn't... Yeah, I was just... Yeah. Well, I needed to play that.
And it's really hard to block this spot, so rather
Yeah.
than play defense, I decided to go for another bingo.
Nice. Makes sense. Dang, I gave you the tiles you needed. You needed the I, and I gave it to you. Well, I was always going to give that.
I needed the E, but I had this E here.
Oh, you had that E. Okay. So that was going to happen. Regardless. Yeah, I couldn't fit a bingo here. I couldn't see one when I played Fedoras. Maybe there is something. Blank. There is nothing. Oh, can I fit one? Okay, I can't fit one on top of the P. I fit one here.
Alrighty, folks. I think this is just the players going through and permutating through the possible bingos on this board. They're going to see...
That means over thins is a word.
Yeah. I was like, I knew it took an S, so I should have been like more sure that like if it takes an S, like it's not a noun, like it's a verb. I should have been more. Should have thought about that more. More confidence. Played over thinned. Maybe it gets +5 too. Yeah, that's probably a better play. I haven't gotten to 8 yet.
Tough game for Josh. That was very interesting. The way that the moves worked out, the way that the plays just gave back multiple bingos. I cannot believe that Alec was not sure of the S hook on Mafik. I was pretty sure that he knew that. So that's a learning opportunity for me. Even experts are humans.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it is a tricky one. I think there's a way to put over thin in your head as an adjective, too thin, and a way to maybe thin the ranks a little too much. And both of those seem like a possibility for why over thin is a word. It happens to be the latter.
I agree. Oh my gosh, that was a tough game, but also really well played by Alec. I mean, the immediate spot of Winter, the beautiful find of Over Thin. I mean, Zloties, of course, knowing that that took an S, even though it was a YS word, that was really cool. I think Alec really gave us some of his best, and I would love to see more of him back on this stream. He's just been giving us so much content, and he's such a pleasure to watch.
Definitely. I think we are deciding between a couple of potential matchups for next round. One of the more exciting ones, in that I think both players still have a good chance of making it to this final two, is going to be Alec Sjoholm versus Ben Schonbrun. We are still deciding, but I have put that in as my vote if I have the choice.
Well, I mean, I think it would be a very entertaining game if we did see them. I mean, this is such a great game. I believe we've seen so many heartbreaks and so many close games. We've seen such a battle of strategy. I believe like this just shows how much there is to Scrabble beyond just knowing your words. You have to think about the board state. You have to think about what will happen next once you do something. I guess these are the kind of decisions that we're going to keep coming back to with our coming games. We have one more game before lunch. Don't go anywhere, you guys. We're going to be back with round 25, and it will be an exciting one for sure.